FOSS Entrepreneurship sessions are available in ICFOSS YouTube channel. You may check that out later. ICFOSS being a government organization for the promotion and propagation of free and open source software is trying to connect with successful free software entrepreneurs so that they can share with you their experience and how FOSS can help with your entrepreneurial dreams. So that is the main objective of the series called FOSS Entrepreneurship Forum. I request all of you to make use of the session and try to get maximum interactions with our speakers. So moving on to the session now, we have with us Mr. Lipesh Parak. Mr. Lipesh is the CEO and Managing Director of 60 Beans Technologies, which is an Odoo expert company based out of Trivandrum. They are providing efficient and economical technology services and solutions to various industry sectors and thus following the freedom for ideas philosophy. Lipesh is also in the direct board of various NGOs and a frequent traveler across countries in promoting free and open source business model. I'm sure his experience through FOSS and the journey to become a free software entrepreneur will definitely inspire you in achieving your entrepreneurial dreams. With all your permission, I'm inviting Mr. Lipesh to the FOSS Entrepreneurship Forum. Welcome, Lipesh, and over to you.
Hi, everyone. Actually, just thanks for introducing me. Just want to understand this on audio is okay or should I switch on?
Fine.
Audio is fine, huh? Okay. So it's a pleasure after quite a while to interact because we have been for the last almost 2 years. So we have been all working from home, have not much of interactions, and so mostly online. So thanks for inviting me for the session. Am I audible to everyone? I hope so. Okay, thank you. So as Anjali mentioned, or as I can understand from this session, mostly students and entrepreneurs or who are just startups and or who are part of the incubations with ICFOSS or startup mission, etc. So I just elect myself. So Lipesh Parak. I started in NIT from Calicut NIT Technology Business Incubator. We soon after our college, I studied my BTech in Electronics and Communication. Personally, a programmer, but wanted to do something on this FOSS-based technologies. So that's how we ended up with Python, and then as Anjani mentioned that I don't know if how many of you heard about, maybe some of you have heard about Odoo. Odoo is the most popular open source ERP, which has got both a community and an enterprise variant. So it was called Tiny ERP, and then after that the name got changed to Open ERP, and now we call it for last few years Odoo. It's all the same. So we got into this technology in 2010, more than 10 years. We just had a look into this, and we've been trying out. Myself and my colleague from my college, Sinod Sebastian. So we actually started with this. We just wanted to explore a potential FOSS technologies. That's how we ended up with. We just started up with Odoo. Tiny ERP, which is called as Tiny ERP back then. And what I wanted to tell you is that if you are looking for starting up, if you are a pure startup and want to do an enterprise or a service-based business in FOSS-based technology, or maybe any of the technology in that sort, ideally it is best to look into the foreign markets to start with, rather than at the I don't know to what level of entrepreneurship, what level of business all of you are in, or what kind of plans that you all have. But what happens when you start with domestic projects or domestic requirements, especially on FOSS, but now things have changed a lot, but since 10 years before, it was not like this, because FOSS was not that popular in enterprise solutions. So what we primarily decided to focus on the foreign market. I mean the non domestic market. And FOSS technologies, that from our experience, has got a lot of acceptance in, of course, South America. But more than that, there's a huge potential in the European, European countries. So our primary focus was in. It evolved from Belgium, and then it got uh, it, they had a development center in India in Ahmedabad. So myself and my colleagues, at that time just used to learn this by ourselves, and then we also happened to go to Ahmedabad, and then just to understand what was there. And it was, they were like uh, less than 50 people at that time. So we were one of the first team from Kerala to go there and understand more about Tiny ERP. And from then, what happened? Yes, now we understood that is from Belgium, and we tried to start up. Before we came to NIT TBI, we were in Chin, looking for job, in that phase. Thought we will decide we will get into some kind of FOSS technology. So we just roamed around a few companies, or we just checked some requirements if somebody has any ERP. And to tell you, at that point of time, we even did not know what an ERP is. So now maybe there is some people here also are not aware of what an ERP is. An ERP is an enterprise resource planning. So it is an enterprise software which handles or which streamlines the process across departments in an organization. Like we have sales, purchasing, inventory, accounts, HR, payroll, and CRM related operations in an organization. So ERP is the one which integrates this, and and that's up. So that's an enterprise solution. So we found it very hard to convince domestic or customers nearby us. So what we decided, that we look for some clients in Europe, and our first customer was from France. So that's how we started. And we started with a very small project of just 1 lakh rupees. That was our starting project value, where we even didn't know how to really estimate a project properly. But from then, what happened is we really understood the potential of FOSS technologies, not just as a business tool, but it is the best platform that we have seen, or the best strategy for having a global network, for creating a global network. So that's how we started from France, and then we could cover the neighboring countries within a couple of years, like Belgium, Italy, Germany, and and then we could get customers from Austria, and different countries. And we were also fortunate. I could travel almost to all these European countries for project purpose, and even for promoting, or even for training, and Odoo based, open ERP based solutions at that time. Now then, and it was all purely through references. That's another good thing, being in FOSS, that you can consider that 50% of the people that you're interacting are all good people, and you get into that community. There is a lot of helping hands, and especially when you say that you're a startup from India, and where you have not much idea of what you're doing. So there's a lot of helping. You get a lot of helping people who want to help you, and to get more projects, or get exposure with more business domains or clients, etc. And we are actually a an example for that, because since we started now, we have about 100 people working on Odoo, and we focused on Odoo, and also now we do a little bit of mobile applications, but all based on Odoo, e-commerce applications, which also we select some of the FOSS technologies for that, and even Odoo itself has got all these features, and we have found that whether it is Tiny ERP or Open ERP or Odoo, it is actually growing on a daily basis. So we many times we had thought that maybe we should also diversify and look into other technologies or look into other solutions. But every year we could see upgrades in Odoo, and Odoo is imbibing the latest technologies in terms of performances, in terms of the features, etc. Just a minute, I think. Okay, sorry. Yeah, in terms of all kind of what you can think about integrations, REST APIs, and now we're doing large projects, and we're doing projects in almost 50 countries, 50 plus countries, and we have completed almost uh, I think at least 300 projects, which are small, micro, small, or mid-sized projects, and we have also started getting into large projects, because that's one good thing about the open source solutions, because it's not easy to convince large customers, because the alternatives that we have are SAP, Oracle-based technology, Oracle-based solutions, or SAP solutions, and even Microsoft-based solutions. So now things are all looking really potential back again. I mean, like, it was always like that, and it is becoming more and more potential every year. And the relevance, any country that you take, because when we started it was very difficult for us to convince for example the US clients or prospects from Australia or from Middle East, because all of them were a little I mean, they were a bit doubtful of how, to what extent this FOSS technologies can deliver, because they were getting a free license, and so they could not actually no, no, they were not convinced that a FOSS solutions can actually support their enterprise. But now things have changed. We became we became really popular, and we do have a lot of clients in all continents. And since COVID, we are getting a really good inquiries and requirements and projects from India as well, from even from locally from Kerala, and from we do also have a lot of domestic projects, and we are looking to further expand our team. So we have our office in Technopark, Trivandrum, and in Cochin, and we're also setting up other small offices because of the COVID situations in maybe other towns in Kerala mostly. And we do also have a direct office in Germany, wherein we are servicing mostly our European clients from there, and we do have an office in Dubai. So all our Middle East projects are being implemented from Dubai, and mainly the support projects. But all our development centers are still based in Kerala itself. So this is what has happened with FOSS. I just wanted to tell you in brief. Uh, Follow what I said, or were you expecting this kind of an experience sharing? Just want to understand from somebody, and I don't know how easy it is being in an online meeting. Yeah. Hi, Anjali.
Thank you for that quick explanation of yours.
Correct. Yeah.
So could you please share your experience with FOSS? How did you start using FOSS, and when did you start contributing, and when did you really realize the potential of FOSS? our proprietary software.
Correct. So, uh, see, I'm not getting into any demo of Odoo here because I don't know, that's not the right place here, because you can Google it and find out what an Odoo and ERP is. Now, like what Anjali asked, so, you know, since college, I was doing my engineering in college. We've been hearing, or we've been working, or we've been part of a lot of force-based activities. But I don't know the exact situation right now. But back then, we did have a lot of companies coming for recruitment placements. So mostly all this active or these activities were limited to the campus. So many of our friends were not able to take this up as a serious career option for various reasons, for maybe opportunities or social or family pressure that they wanted to take up a job in any MNC. So then what we decided is, okay, we thought, well, we had also our own reasons, few reasons that it was not that easy for us to find jobs, due to some academic also, and my colleagues which I had, we had some sort of issues, and we had some delays in getting jobs. So but from since we were studying, we were all actively participating on all these force related sessions, or any knowledge sharing opportunities that we get. And from that, after passing out the college, yes, we decided that before we get into, before we actually make any permanent decisions to go and work anywhere, we will try all sort of possibilities that how we can flourish, or how we can have a life with force. And so I can tell you that I've not gone for any other jobs. I started just with this. I think we were since we passed out in 2008, and that time we were just behind the screen. We were trying out a lot of things, a lot of options, and it took a lot of time for us to actually because less helps available, less documentations available at that time. So it's almost now, I would say, 15 years with this, with the interest. And then as a private limited company, more than 10 years now. And we are seeing, as I mentioned to you, the potential is growing every year. The opportunities are getting bigger and bigger. So we are all very optimistic about the future, myself and all of us in our company. Yep.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah.
I think participants can ask any questions or.
Is there any entrepreneurs? I mean, like any startups, anyone thinking of starting up with any of the FOSS technologies in e-commerce or ERP or CMS, etc.?
I think they're all. Maybe you can text your questions or replies in the chat box itself.
Sure. So if you have anything specific, you can also route via Anjali if we could have
If you have any
any help.
questions in mind, you may drop that in the chat box here. Questions can be anything related to Odoo or business using Odoo or free software in general, maybe.
Correct. What is Odoo? What is ERP? How can I start a company? How do I get projects? How do we train people? It will be good if, yes, Nitin. Okay, so Nitin's question was, I will read it out for all of you. Were there any challenges during COVID? To be very frank, with, like, as we see, we were also very concerned about how the COVID situation would lead us to, because early, I think 2019, 20, so everything was on a doubt. I mean, whether, because as you know that we, or most of our projects are from outside, and we are not a big company, so we were doing, we were traveling to our customer locations to actually, for many of these implementations, because these are all ERP based solutions, so you have to interact a lot with customers directly. That's what we thought. But the situation right now, so we even thought we might have to scale down, or we might have to reduce the number of people, because we should expect a drop in the projects, or a drop in customer requirements, or, but actually, since COVID 2020, we have added team members, and now we have seen a lot more projects than we had pre-COVID. So post-COVID is very potential, and very, we had a lot of more projects, or the number of inquiries coming as compared to the pre. I mean, before COVID, it is more these days. Is because, yes, people have become cost specific, so they are a bit reluctant to invest in expensive solutions. Mainly, the alternatives that we had were SAP based and Oracle, so, or any of that, in that range mostly. So people have become cost specific, and also, uh, that we think is, everybody got used to a remote work model, so everybody understood the importance of having ERP solution rather than just an accounting package, just an accounting software. In India, that you might have heard about Tally, so everybody is using Tally. But then they, and the businesses, the the small or micro or even the mid-sized companies, realize the importance of ERP solutions, that too web-based. And since they understood the fact that they are not able to say about the users, the number of users will need to be more, because most of their people are working from home, so the potential really got higher. And now we are more confident than before. So I think, for us, COVID has always been a lot of opportunities. So this is what I think so far from, from this COVID time.
Thank you, Libesh.
Yeah.
There is one more questions.
Correct. What are the market challenges and competitions you are facing, because there are many companies uses Odoo? Correct. Many companies. Are you saying many implementations? No, many competitors.
Yeah.
Okay. 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 Correct. Yes, of course. This is a non fact. Of course, the one as I told you some time back, that we were one of the first company to to start using this tiny ERP in those times, or when everybody were doing programs, or like .NET based, Microsoft based technologies. We were one of the few companies at that time uh, used Python and tiny ERP, and even customers in Europe. So we had a very less number of competition. I mean, like we we were the only company, or maybe when we started, but now many of from our company we have spinned off. I mean, like many of our team members have started their own companies, and in Odo itself, and we are in good good, all of us are in good terms. And so I know that there is a lot of company. You can also see there are a lot of companies using Odo, and the reason is, again, I told you, there is a huge potential, there is a lot of user base, there is a lot of requirements in the market. That's one thing. But if you have developed, so the focus is a matter. When you get into any force technologies, my advice is that focus on any particular vertical. I mean, in the sense, any particular software, any particular force technology. I mean, I'm not saying, I meant a force based system. Okay, not just being an expert programming company in PHP or Python, but I would rather say that you have to become an expert in a force product, a force based solution. And if you can keep it, if you can maintain that for at least more than 5 years, then the competitions are not a matter. You will get, and it will be a good thing that you will have more and more new companies coming, and making people aware of Odoo, and giving them, making them. And so naturally the prospects are looking for the best implementation companies. So for us, this is a very good thing that there is a lot of companies giving solutions based on Odoo, and being an expert in that field or in that solution, you will not have any challenges. That's what my experience is. If anybody have any other examples or anything else, any other opinions, I would further comment on that.
Okay, thank you. So, any other questions from the participants?
Is there a startup here? Participants just want to understand. Any any companies, any startup or company? Not
sure. Anyone, if you would like to ask something or clarify something, you can ask now. I think that's all from their side. So before winding up, I'd like to ask you something, Lepish. So what would be your advice, or any one thing that you'd like to tell people who would like to start business using free software or Odoo? What would be that?
Correct. See, so the first thing which I just mentioned before, that when, how, when, or how and when your competitors become relevant, or when you when do you enjoy having more competitors and more people. First of all, that we need to think that force, yes, the potential, or the strength of force is the community. Yeah. So it is not neither me or you that are the sole owners of the solution. Whole world or the community that is such stable or a good solution. So I would say that you should be always willing to keep this spirit, willing to share information, because I have found a lot of even Odoo companies that still behave like a proprietary company, wherein they don't understand the importance of the freedom of the customer. The so you should have, I would suggest, or I would advise that you shouldn't have that feeling. So you should be you should keep up the spirit of a real community force enthusiast. That's one. Then other thing, I mean, few things that like, well, when we get into force, we see a lot of options. Like we have a lot of applications works on CMS, We do have a lot of e-commerce based FOSS frameworks, and also even in ERP we might see few other options as well. So whichever you choose or whichever the domain that you are interested in, be very focused on that for more than years. Try it out. I mean, if you can sustain with that, should yes, you should think that being in force, the very first advantage that you get is exposure to the community, which is global. I mean, which is not limited to the state or a country. So it's a global exposure that you get, and you have to make sure that you effectively utilize that. I mean, what I mean is, just leaving this COVID situation, if you get any opportunity to travel, or you should really make opportunities to travel to, not just India, to almost all countries that you can get. And I can give you from my experience. I was just a college out, without having even a PAN card or just having parents' ATM card. I mean, I was in the same situation. I could travel to Belgium. So the first travel experience that I had in Belgium, my visa got rejected 2 times because of all these reasons, that I didn't have a bank statement. I mean, a sound bank statement. I don't have, the income tax returns documents like that. But if you can find out, and you can find out good people from there, they will actually sponsor you. They will support you, and you can travel. And then that's it. I mean, if you travel, then you get a lot of opportunities. So focus it. Try to get more and more exposure. And the FOSS technologies, anything that you take up as purely for your network, I mean, it is to the primary focus. I mean, the primary thing that you should focus is on the solution plus networking, meeting people, and sharing your ideas, and they will help you out and all that. And then the third thing, yes, as I told you, just don't, because you need to have money, yeah, because you cannot always run this company just on, just with passion or just with motivation. So the motivation is also linked with the remuneration, or how, the exposure to the team that you have under you. So I would always, so it's just a must that you should keep up that also in your mind, like having a 5 days working team, working on non-Indian projects. I mean, and having, trying to provide an industry or at par with the industry remunerations like this. So you should always price your pricing for what you do should not be too correct. And that's another thing. Then the main thing is, you should learn to say no. I mean, being in force, you tend to say that everything is possible with this Odoo. Like, if I get an inquiry, I would tell the customer, yes, everything is possible. You don't worry, because it is this and that. But that should be very, you should be very careful in having communications, like that kind of communication with the customer. So whatever technology or whatever the domain that you choose, try to analyze it properly, and also be prepared to say no wherever it is required. And then, yes, of course, be a, keep up your passion, because force is all about sharing, and be prepared for that, and automatically you will be rewarded for it. And it's a long term thing. Just don't look at any short term benefits that you will get, but it's a long term, it's a dedicated. I mean, if you work dedicated, on a long term vision, I'm sure anybody can achieve any heights using FOSS technologies. And almost all governments, or even organizations these days, are promoting force-based technologies. The only thing that you should be prepared enough to handle that data, or handle that kind of customers. That's it. Okay.
All right, thank you. I think that is the main takeaway from the session, Lipish. Thank you. Thank you for your time and efforts. I think if there are no more questions, we'll just wrap up the session.
Okay, sure. Just,
Thank you all the participants for your participation and support. We are planning to continue this series in the upcoming months, so requesting all your cooperation. Thank you all. Thank you, Lipesh. Thank you so much.
okay. You're welcome, and thanks everyone. Bye. Good luck to all.
You are currently the only person in this conference.